and get something going here in game number 2. As we kick it off, similar bans coming out so far. The first two for BLG are the exact same, and we'll see if it is going to remain the same across the board.
Same for Koi as well. The Poppy, the Annie are going to be taken away. I wonder if Xin is what they're going to be thinking about as an early prio. Put Elioya on something that gives him a bit more agency in the early skirmishing department. Ari going to be the ban, trying to limit Knight's options in the mid lane. They really want to try and target that pool. The problem is they are, as a result, also targeting Jojo's pool. So we'll see what direction he chooses to go for. With Azir still available, that could be the first pick for Koi if they want to go for a little bit more range in team fighting. Looks like that's going to be the direction. So Jojo going to be picking his next most played champion. We are going down the list. BLG, though, they're going to get pick of the litter when it comes to the Gwen. Now, this is something that for Bin, you generally want to ban away. Okay, the man is a monster on this pick. And the fact that Koi have just handed it over for him, they're going to have a good matchup. Mirwin on the Jax. Not something that we usually see from him. Usually he's got something a little bit more unique when playing into champions like the Gwen.
Yeah, just one play on it so far this split.
Definitely not much of a Mirwin champion. We'll see if he does decide to lock it in, as Koi seem to be heading more towards the team fight style once again.
Absolutely. Azir plus the Wukong, incredibly strong as far as the team fight goes. Alvaro, I thought was stellar on the Alistar in the last game. Unfortunately, it was in a loss, but really was looking on point in that game number 1. To me, he was the standout member of MKOI in that first game and is going to be on another Engage champ here. This time it will be the Rel. The Engage is explosive here for MKOI. I mean, Knight Syndra, to me, this is such a throwback. This was the champion that really made me initially learn most about Knight. Was absolutely stellar on it for so many years. Instead, it is going to be the Victor, so he will lock in the Victor here. Is going to be going towards one of those control mages. People do generally like this matchup into the Azir. You can kind of just poke and prod with the E, try to outrange the Azir, and just kind of farm and scale alongside it.
Early on, you can lose out on some prio. The Azir has slightly faster wave clear because of the long cooldowns, but you're completely right. That once you get that upgraded E, those waves just evaporate by the Victor wave clear.
And it's going to be interesting to see if MKOI can put pressure on that mid lane, because generally speaking, in this matchup, once Azir gets 6, you want to have your jungler support come, go in with the ultimate, force out the flash from the Victor, and then rinse and repeat for a kill. That's the kind of play you are looking for. So we'll see if MKOI can find a way to put on that aggression. And they clearly are not so worried about the Jax, more concerned about some of these other niche picks. That Mirwin is so well known for. The Kennen even going to draw a ban here. So very atypical. BLG clearly doing some homework and trying to pay that respect to Mirwin with a targeted ban.
They're aware that Mirwin plays stuff. What stuff? We don't know. Truthfully, we really don't. That man has a very deep solo queue history, and you never really know what he's got prepared for a Gwen. But against Bin's Gwen, you've got to be ready. So we'll see if he goes for something unique or if he instead goes for more of a team play. They could just go for something tanky, look to try an early lane swap, put pressure on Bin that way. With the Senna being taken away, they're going to remove Super's ability to scale. Ezreal could be something that they think about. With the Braum taken away, I do wonder if that's the direction that they do head towards. It is Super's most played from Spring.
Let's see what BLG want to go. It's going to be Leona that they are considering here. Of course, you can also just wait, lock in your AD, and then look to see what the full bot lane picture is going to be, but definitely want to have the answering pick, it looks like here. So for now, considering the Leona would make sense. There are really kind of like 5 of those priority engaged supports. 2 of them were played in the first game, 2 of them were played in the second game. Nautilus kind of the last one now up and available. And they're going to leave that counter pick really here for Elk. Try to make sure that they do have that winning 2v2. They already saw the support that Alvaro is going to be playing, so On had his pick of the litter. Now Supa is going to have to complete that bot lane, and we will find out what the answer in the top lane is going to be here for Mirwin. I mean, Jax honestly, is a pretty good matchup into the Gwen. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be looking towards playing it, but I do think it can make some sense. Kai'Sa definitely does feel like it fits within the composition. Rel, Wukong flying into the back line. And alongside that, I do think Jax would work, but instead it's going to be a Kali
It's
here.
a Kali top.
It's a Kali top, very spicy. I wonder if he's going to do the Ignite TP and really go for it. People do like this matchup quite a lot. Often you can stay within the Shroud against the Gwen, be able to get in the face, hit your Shuriken flip, really go aggressive, in this 1v1. And it's going to be an exciting one for Mirwin here.
It's a strong bot lane matchup, though, for BLG. Corki, Leona. Kind of a very old school matchup, but one in the modern day works very effectively. Powerful level 6 especially, gives you push in the early matchup as well, because Kai'Sa really can't contest the Corki's trade patterns, which means the BLG are once again going to leverage and look to play through that bot side of the map. This Xin Zhao, we'll see how well he works with the bot lane once more. The good news for Koi is that I expect Knight to be less on the roaming style this game, looking to continue to trade in a little bit more of a scaling matchup. That top side is the volatile area of the map, and I wonder if the junglers will pay much attention towards it, because you're right, there's that fine line for Akali where if her E actually puts her outside of the Shroud, the E actually will miss. But you're completely right that usually the Akali plays within that Shroud can be a very good matchup. And we've seen Akalis get solo kills multiple times in this matchup, especially if they do choose to, as you were saying, run that Ignite TP. It does leave you very vulnerable. You have to be extremely careful in the matchup. But yeah, we said that Mirwin has these special picks, and I love that he's playing with confidence against Bin. On the international stage, you have to believe that you're the best, and I love the confidence that we see from Mirwin as he's going to look to have a little bit more impact here in Game 2 than he could on his Galio from Game 1.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree, and even if, the Ignite is more risky than just playing Flash DP or something like that, if you think it is good for the matchup, I want to see him lock it in, because you do not want to play to just scale alongside a Gwen. Gwen is going to get way more out of that. You need to be able to put the pressure on. You need to be able to put him in a difficult position. Also going to be interested to see, what build Supa goes. I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fan of the full AD Kai'Sa, but they are quite heavy in the AP. Agreed. So I think that they probably will be looking towards that. But it's something we're going to have to find out. And you talked about Leona Corki, obviously can be quite difficult for the Kai'Sa early on. You get stunned up, Frost Bomb is going to hit, and that thing hurts. The all-ins can also be really powerful. If you get that stun and cleanses down, you just flash, you Valk on their head, you put that damage down. Corki can look for these really aggressive all-ins. But remember, while you are watching the action unfold, keep an eye out for all exclusive drops just for tuning into MSI. All you need to do is be logged in and watching on lolesports.com for a chance to score some of this in-game loot.
Who doesn't love loot? So get logged in, get watching as we get ready for Game 2. MKOI changing up the draft. They have a little bit more agency this time around. Jojo should be able to get early push, which means that Beishwan isn't going to have the same luxury of just being able to permit invade. In terms of the early control, though, looking relatively safe.
Ignite TP, so he's going for it. And it is going to be Ignite TP on the other side as well, and Bin is going to go Resolve. Not a big shock. BLG, though, obviously in Game 1 looked incredibly good, and they kind of continued forward all the dominance that they were showing in the play-ins. They got first blood in every game but one. They got the upgraded boots, the feats of strength in every single game. They got Otacon every single game, Herald every but one game. It's like they were just absolutely stomping through play-ins, and now they are 7 straight wins.
And yeah, and it's funny because when we watched them play, we definitely recognized some weaknesses, but the conversation we had coming into this matchup was, even if you see these weaknesses, you have to be good enough to punish them. And it felt like that in Game 1, you mentioned Alvaro, I think he found some great opportunities to punish the positioning that we saw from L. The fact that BLG is often always willing to fight around these neutrals, I feel like it just played into their hand, though. They drafted really well to the style that they like to play. And we'll see how things shift up, because when you run a Victor, a Gwen, you do want to scale a little bit more. So we'll see how the action plays out here
first for MKOI. BLG were trying to fight for it. MKOI do not actually decide to commit to this. Now BLG are able to get level 2 themselves. But the potion had to be used there by Elk, and one was taken off on as well. So MKOI doing a good job fighting back, as Mirwin here going to be pushed in early on by Bin. Again, playing that grasp, you can just look for these Q trades and proc it with that. It is quite nice. His On's going to go in. They're going aggressive here on a Supa. The cleanse came out quite late, and the Ignite is up there. They will not flash in to follow, but they get all of the potions down here, as well as the cleanse. And Supa's just going to have to go back to base, or he's going to get flashed on and killed. This
is the matchup that we were talking about. Leona, Corki, tried and true. It has so much power very early on into the matchup, just because of the trading pattern that Corki can provide. And Alvaro on the rail doesn't quite have the same setup when paired up alongside that Kai'Sa. You don't really have a huge amount of threat, so a lot of experience going to be lost to Super. He's now a full level down. He's going to be able to catch some experience back, but a really very nice trade from BLG's bot lane.
Yeah, great job. Alvaro, of course, trying to hold that wave as much as he can, but did lose about 5 out of 6 of the minions on that previous wave. So Supa obviously going to be down in farm, and his experience, as he did point out, will be able to close that gap as he does farm up this wave, though. But Elk is definitely going to be in a much better spot here. Is going to have the better base and goes back, buys a tier here early on, as well as the glowing moat.
I'll also say the top matchup going very bin favored here in the early game. Owen looking for some trades where he can, but right now it's just going the way of Bin, getting good push. Has a massive CS lead for now. A lot of farm being lost by Muin underneath the tower as well.
Yeah, it felt like Bin is just playing the wave. You know, Mirwin is trying to look for these trades, but Bin is just constantly hitting the wave, constantly getting the shove, and that makes it really difficult for Mirwin to be able to find those angles to look for those positive trades when the wave is always stacking in his opponent's favor.
Yeah, okay. They're going to go for a swap. Sending the Akali into the bot lane is a little bit of a surprise, just because my expectation was they'd want to keep this matchup for as long as possible, the Akali into the Gwen, because it is a counter pick into the Gwen. But I guess they're going to try and get Supa and Alvaro out of this bot lane matchup where they are struggling in a little bit. And Bin is just looking for trades.
I mean, he's a 2-level advantage on both of them right now, but has he overstayed his welcome here? Bin could be in some trouble. Skip and Slash used to try to get back to safety as they're going to flash forward and they're going to commit to this. Bin is trying to turn around, but he's not going to have the damage. Way overestimating his strength there. Alvaro and Supa punish, and again, it's first blood.
I mean, he used everything to try and fight them, and you're right that he had a 2-level lead over them, but you don't have Flash, Bin. He tried to use the Ignite so that maybe he could trade 1-for-1 against Supa, but Supa, after being punished so heavily on the bot side of the map, walks away with first blood.
Yeah, he's got to be really happy about that. And Elkanon have got to be a little bit frustrated there with Bin. The advantage that they were able to gain is now kind of gone. Jojo here incredibly low, but Knight is very low on mana as well. On now moving over, will be spotted here by Elyoya and Alvaro in the area also. Both teams looking to cover for their mid laners.
They're actually going to keep Supa on the top side of the map. Of course, he is falling far behind in terms of CS and experience, but in terms of gold, thanks to that kill, he's not doing too badly. Bin going to have to be very respectful. He will spot out Alvaro. Junglers so far not really getting involved much in the action, and for Elyoya, I will say this is great news. On the Wukong, you just want to get that level 6 as quickly as you can, repeatedly go for these full clears, and you hope that the lanes aren't too volatile. Mirwin is suffering a little bit in this 1 versus 2. He doesn't really have many playmaking options, and he's also ran out of pots that he can utilize in the lane for now.
Yeah, mostly just playing for experience at this point. You know, he knows he can't afford to take damage because with the wave slowly coming towards you, you need to make sure you have enough health to actually catch the wave when it finally does come to you. Bin, though, getting zoned off, still not level 6, as Alvaro's going to take a swing here. Does land the Shattering Strike. Supa getting aggressive. Bin, if he was 6, might be able to turn this around, but this is difficult. He's going to go for it anyway. Supa could be in some trouble. Remember, he has no flash. Does level up to 5, though. Great peel coming through from Alvaro. The stun is going to land with the Shattering Strike, as Bin is trying to play for 6. He really wants to get it. He still needs one more minion. Now does get it, but it doesn't matter because Elyoya has arrived, and Elyoya going to be able to grab this kill. You have to think eventually. Bin, again, overextending. Didn't quite have the experience to get 6, otherwise he might have been able to make the play work.
It's really interesting because you're completely right that Bin thought that if I can just get this level up, it'll be completely fine, because then I can turn around this play. You could see how much damage he was doing to Supa. In a 2 versus 1, he almost just straight up killed him, but he just didn't quite have the damage. Jojo gets the flash out.
And now he's going to flash and follow. Jojo bides his time, and now they're going to be able to grab a kill in mid lane. Beautiful play from the Canadian mid laner. Knight didn't hold his nerve there. Flashed early, did not reactively flash to the ult, and that just allowed Jojo to flash later with the ultimate to follow.
So we take stock of the game state, and Jojo now has a lead. Elyoya now also has a lead. Supa has been able to close the gap that was built between him and Elk, with Alvaro sitting on a 400 gold lead of his own. MKOI off to a good start here as they're being super proactive on the map and, quite frankly, just punishing the mistakes of BLG.
Yep, looking good thus far. The solo laners here from BLG definitely not looking infallible in this second game, and Mirwin going to take in that shuriken flip here.
He's now at a point where I think he just has kill pressure on Bin. With the Ignite especially, Bin has to be very careful with the level difference.
Really does, and wanted to talk a little bit about Alvaro as well as Elioya. These guys have been so core to the success. You know, they play so well together. We saw them link up on that top side as well as around mid lane. And generally where they go, good things happen for MKOI.
Certainly does. The best version of MKOI is when these two are working together and they're being unlocked on the map, and we're hopefully going to get to see it now. Level 5 still for Alvaro.
And no ultimate for Elioya or Jojo here. So it could be a difficult approach. BLG just trying to focus on finishing off the final grub. Should be able to do it. Beishwan has no smite. Elioya does, but just no real angle for him to approach. So all 3 grubs will be claimed there by BLG.
So BLG continuing to demonstrate their proficiency of playing around these early objectives. Really good job by them. Elk forced the W away.
Alvaro, nice crash down there, just buffering out on the Zenith Blade. We saw Mirwin was scrapping again with Bin on this bot side. Both of them do have ults and ignites ready, so definitely could be a spicy fight if it does break out. And Jojo, now having gotten that first kill, is definitely playing with a lot more confidence. You can see him posturing aggressively here, looking to get that Q auto poke down onto Knight, wants to keep him pushed in, and is going to be able to grab a plate here very likely. Elioya spotted.
Yep.
Mirwin is going to look. Shuriken Flip does connect. Bin going to have to try to get out of there, but he has no flash. Remember, he's playing Ignite TP. No way out. Mirwin and Elioya going to be able to group up and grab a kill.
Honestly, I don't even know if Elioya was needed. That looked like that was going to be a solo kill to me. And getting some gold to Mirwin, pretty much, yeah. And Elioya getting involved in the action on the map. 1-0-2 scoreline for now. 1.3k the overall gold lead. Of course, it's not really being converted into many objectives. That is where BLG still hold on to the advantage. The fact that they've gotten the first dragon, they've been able to secure all 3 grubs. This next dragon is going to be important because KOI, with the leads that they're starting to build, should hit those item spikes earlier. And the fact that Knight is going for the Rod of Ages build means that this Victor is going to be very slow to scale. And I want to see KOI play in a similar way to BLG, where they should be spiking faster, so they should be looking to try and fight earlier.
Absolutely are. On, going to run into Alvaro here. We'll just be fighting for that pink ward. Shattering Strike not going to connect, but On eventually I think will push Alvaro back. Beishwan going to be spotted though, and you can see both top laners now headed up towards that top side. Bin though has TP advantage, which is going to be critical here in a minute 20 when this next dragon does spawn, unless we see Jojo or someone move up there to match who can actually get down for this dragon. It could be a bit problematic for MKOI.
One thinks he's got position, zoning super away. The wave being denied. And this is the biggest thing between the two AD carries, that experience difference. It all comes back to that level 2 trade that happened. Ever since then, Super's been playing catch-up, and to his credit, he's caught up in terms of gold. But that level difference is still very relevant. A full level between the two AD carries. Super will have ways to claw that back later on into the game, but for now, Elk is really the strong point for BLG that they should look to try and play around if they do want to contest these neutral objectives moving forward.
Maybe he's the only one up in gold right now, and it is a very slight gold lead for Elk. And Super will be able to collect this wave and close the gap to maybe like 100, 150 gold, so not really an issue whatsoever. Question is, does MKOI want to fight at this dragon, or will they just give it up and allow BLG to continue their dragon stacking that they have been doing all tournament long?
I'm looking at the items now, and Mirwin, he doesn't have his item complete, but a Trinity Force completed for Elioya, a very expensive jungle item. Having that ready for the second dragon, really nice spike. Of course, the Sundered Sky coming in from the other side is still a good pickup for Beishwan. The two mid laners, though, Nash's 2 versus the Rod of Ages. You could understand why BLG might be a little bit hesitant to try and test
they're going to flash in. They're going right for it. They're looking for Elioya, and he's going to be knocked back. He's trying to target Elk. The TPs are coming in. Mirwin looking for Elk. He's going to be able to try to knock him down to the side, but he couldn't quite get him. In goes Supa. Supa gets one. Supa's going to be looking for another, but Mirwin is rotting down to that Victor ultimate. He's going to fall eventually. Alvaro trying to get out. Does land the Shattering Strike, but it's not going to be enough as Supa does get a kill in the background onto Elk, but he's incredibly low, and he is running for the hills. Even with the gold lead, it's BLG as Knight flashes in, getting another kill, and it's going to be them taking the dragon. Just as you were saying, you're not sure if they want to fight. They're saying, yes, we do.
BLG are just so fast. They don't give you a moment to think. Elioya, he's just sitting in the river. Flash engage from On. The collapse from BLG is quick. The response from Elk is good as the follow-up engage doesn't come through. Super is very far away. The Azir has to TP in, but at this point, when the rest of KOI arrive, the fight is already over. BLG, great decisiveness, great execution, and they're fighting again.
Basewan now looking for Jojo, but has he bit off more than he can chew? Alvaro with Shattering Strike will be there to peel for his mid laner. BLG can't get another kill, but are continuing to try to push the pace here to keep that pressure up.
I feel like KOI continue to just get caught unaware of how confidently BLG is ready to contest them on the neutral objectives. The Victor gained so much off the back of that last fight, picking up, I believe it was 2 kills, and just really starting to be funneled those passive stacks. Alvaro, a bit of danger here. They should be fine as now we wait for the next neutral objective. The Herald's going to be the one that both these teams will be setting their sights on. Of course, the feats of strength going to be determined by that first tower.
Absolutely is. Alvaro and On just scrapping over vision non-stop here. As Baishuan moving down, Jojo is quite low, has the ultimate in 3 seconds, so it's almost up here. Alvaro there to cover. Looks like BLG will not elect to try to go for a dive here. And of course, yes, Knight did get a kill, was a big winner in that last fight, but as with Supa, picked up a double, didn't use either of his summoners to do it either, so that is very, very nice because he forced the flash out of Elk and the flash off of Knight to be able to take him down, so he got both of the key summoners there from the big carries for BLG, kept his alive, so if they could force another fight, it's a big summoner advantage right now for MKOI.
BLG, they're playing the map very well, though. I love how they play through their pressure again. They realize that KOI want to get resets through, and so they funnel more members down to the bot side of the map, which means that Knight has free access to this tower. He's very well protected, and he secures that objective, and that gold gap that existed between the two mid laners is now completely dissipated. They also secure the feats as they secure the first tower of the game. And KOI, they don't really have much that they can cross-map. They do have pretty good positioning on the Herald at the very least. They were able to drop some wards down in this topside river. But BLG, they're going to be ready to respond. The base has come through. Actually, did Knight base? He actually may have just walked from bot lane up towards top. And now they're ready to contest the river.
Got those upgraded shoes. Going to use them. Walks all the way up here. And they are, as you say, ready to fight as they seem to be each and every time an objective is spawning. BLG's team fighting has just been so on point. Teams have been able to get advantages, but they have not been able to out-team fight them thus far in the event. We'll see if MKOI can do that here, as they are going to be the first ones to start up this Herald. Bin is up on that top side. He can't go back to base. He doesn't have his first item. On looking with the Hex Flash. Cannot find an angle to go in on Mirwin. Now Bin approaching from the top, but the objective is already gone. So BLG will elect to just back it up and try to get a little bit of chip damage down on this tier 1.
Okay, BLG very much just spectators in this play. Bin will respect KOI.
But will he respect them enough? It looks like they're going to go for it. In goes the Cyclone as Jojo's in on top of him. Bin, no flash. I don't know if he's getting out of this one. Flash to follow from Elyoya. And Jojo picks up the kill. They are really punishing this Ignite choice from Bin.
They certainly are. And Mirwin, he's not going to lose much on the other side. Baishuan doing what he can, though, stealing all of these bot side cams to deny gold away from Elyoya. But Elyoya's been involved in 6 of the team's 7 kills. The only ones he couldn't be a part of was the 2 that Supa was able to pick up in the last fight. Jojo now setting his sights on this top tower. Elkanon quick to respond, though. It's very difficult for KOI to really convert this into any meaningful objective secure. On looking for the collapse.
Jojo knows that he was there. He saw the ward come over, but did he overstay his welcome? Has the ultimate if he needs it to try to disengage. Great sidestep, is going to be able to avoid that stun, just gets hit by the slow, and as a result, doesn't have to trade out his ulti.
Jojo still has the ulti, and with Elyoya hovering in the shadows, there's always the possibility of that engage, so BLG don't overextend. For now, MKOI hold on to the gold lead, but the map very much favors that of BLG. No towers are yet to fall, but meanwhile, the structural damage on the side of KOI, that mid tower is getting very low.
Cloud Soul.
Yeah, the next dragon is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud Soul is just so powerful, especially for a lot of the different champions in this game. I think in particular champions like the Wukong as well as the Gwen. I mean, Gwen with Cloud Soul is just a terror in the side lanes. It is so difficult to actually be able to escape that ultimate with the slowdown plus the speed up. But MKOI here in the mid lane, good timing with the Herald to be able to drop this down. 15 seconds now until that third dragon will spawn. They're trying to take full control of this area. Push in mid. They will be able to get this tower with the crash. And should be able to be the first to move in towards the next dragon. Alvaro's just going to keep going in. It's going to get smoked down, though, by Baishuan. So Alvaro gets popped out as Bin was back in base here now. You can see he's coming out to join. Knight going to be TPing up towards that top side. The Riftmaker has been completed there for Bin.
Looking at this one ward sitting on the Raptors for a potential TP flank from the Gwen. He's being tracked right now, but it looks like, yeah, BLG's just not in a position. I love what Beishwan's doing, by the way. You'll notice him on the complete other side of the map, just rummaging through Alioya's jungle and saying, is there anything I can steal? I can't contest this dragon, and that's fine, but I'm going to get whatever camps I can. And if I can't get a camp, I'll set my sights on that top lane tower.
Exactly, to get some wards down as well, drop that pink, as Elk is going to push Supa back here. Alvaro in the area, though, there to cover. As Beishwan and Knight move in, they are going to be able to claim that top lane tier 1. Meanwhile, MKOI, mid-jungle, trying to do the same here on the other side. Going to be able to put more gold in the coffers of JoJo, who is up to a 1,100 gold lead right now. Mirwin going to be able to defend the tier 2, as there's no sort of push incoming there. BLG, though, will grab some respawning camps on the exit.
So, KOI have had a much better early game. The question is going to be how well can they execute on the fights? Because you're right. BLG, so far their MSI has just been utter domination in the 5 versus 5. We saw them lose that one fight against G2 where they kind of pushed down mid and got collapsed on. But aside from that, they've just been a force to be reckoned with.
Bin again in the side lane, could be in trouble here. Pops the Shroud, but the Cyclone comes in. They are chasing him down. They're going to knock him down once again. It's the 5th death for Bin.
Maybe they don't need to team fight. They just keep getting picks. I love the way in which Elyoya is playing the map right now. And it's as rightly as you said, there's no flash on this Gwen at any point in the game. So the moment you overstep ever so slightly with the combined CC of the slows that come down from the Rylai's, the ultimate from Azir if they need it, and the double knockup that they have available from the Wukong, it's an easy pick in favor of KOI.
Bin has just been kept down so effectively here. There is always that ticking time bomb of Gwen, though he is going to be continuing to scale. We'll see how Mirwin can perform in these team fights, as he is obviously out to a nice little advantage, up a level and a half, plus the gold advantage there. But JoJo is going to be the biggest problem here for BLG. The question is, can they get in onto him? Can they actually knock him down? Especially with Bin being that far behind, will they have the pressure to actually get into that backline and knock down JoJo, who has gone for a relatively tanky build? He has quite a bit of extra HP built up. BLG, though, again, they're just right to the objective. They're starting up Otacon here only 20 seconds after it spawns. Alvaro is going to be able to spot this. How quickly can MKOI respond? Because BLG are just committing to it. In comes the teleport here from Bin. Mirwin TPing in as well. JoJo there on the side trying to get some poke down, as Alvaro is going to go in looking for the engage, but there's not really any follow-up. But we are going to see the first kill going the way of Supa. Bin on the side trying to do what he can here against JoJo, but MKOI are pushing them back. Beishwan trying to stay in the area to see if he can get a smite steal. They're going to get it down incredibly low. It's down to 1,500. It's down to the smites, and it's down to Elyoya as he has the Cyclone. He's going in with Supa into the backline. Mirwin goes as well. BLG trying to run for it here. Supa on the side looking for more. Beishwan pushing him back, though. Bin now in the pit. Going to be caught with Elyoya, and JoJo falls again for the 6th time this game. It's Beishwan versus Supa. Supa, though, winning out as Beishwan going to get pushed back. Elk is running for it, but it's another kill going the way of JoJo. Supa trying to stay alive here. Beishwan slowly catching up. Can he hit him with the wind becomes lightning? No, he cannot. Supa getting flashed on here by Knight. Knight is looking, and he will collect the shutdown. Plus 636, but it's a much bigger win for MKOI as they grab the Otacon and they win out in the fight.
A chaotic fight that was, I mean, it can only be described as everyone was dashing everywhere. We saw movement over walls, we saw dodging of CCs. On had a really nice ultimate to deny the follow-up coming through from KOI, and I wanted to keep track of this engage coming through from the river onto Supa and Mirwin. The engage from Alvaro is good, but the follow-up is a little bit limited. Beishwan also knocks back Elyoya. The execution of the fight from BLG is really good to separate Alvaro from the rest of his team, but the problem is the re-engage from BLG. They just don't have the tools. They've now used everything at their disposal, and that's when MKOI look for the re-engage. Elyoya with a nice ulti, both, again, the mobility, the dashing from one side of Elk to the other of Mirwin, and then it becomes this chase down. Elyoya is able to get this pickup onto Bin. Elk ends up dropping as well, but on the other side of the map, they end up getting that pick onto Supa, and Knight was the one that got up so many. I think he got 3 in total in that fight. So this Victor, even though he's at a massive deficit, has slowly been getting a lot of kills and gold, especially thanks to that last fight.
Absolutely. I mean, that initial engage from Alvaro would have been that much more deadly if Elyoya had the Cyclone, but it was just still on cooldown at the beginning of the fight.
Spot.
It was only had about 10-15 seconds left, which I think is maybe partially why BLG forced their hand. They tried to look for this fight with the cooldown down, but it was that re-engage from Elyoya as that ultimate came back up. They look for it. On is always ready to scrap here. He is back to the river. Bin is in the area as well, as MKOI trying to maintain some control here. This Dragon going to be up in 14 seconds. Mirwin is behind them, will be spotted though by Bin, but Bin is down 2 levels. I don't think he's going to be able to win out in this 1v1. MKOI in the area, will be able to push Mirwin back as Alvaro threatening with the Hex Flash. Going to get spotted out by Knight. Knight and Elk here are going to have a hell of a time walking through this tight corridor to try to get involved. Alvaro and Elioya trying to be able to put that pressure on them. Base1 escorting his team in, trying to create space. Bin now going to be marking Alvaro. You can see Mirwin on the side, but it's going to be a stun connecting in onto On as they're looking for the engage. Jojo goes away here, trying to survive. Elioya, though, into the back line as Supa's going to knock down On. Supa is going to get killed off, though, by Knight. It's back and forth. Kills on the side as Bin is fighting Elioya. It is going to be able to win out. It's going to be another kill as well for BLG as Base1 and Knight combo up to knock down another. It is a 3-kill fight here for BLG. They are not going to stay on the Dragon, though, as Jojo just TP's back at full HP. BLG will back off. No one grabs the Dragon, but BLG win the fight.
On finds an amazing ultimate onto Jojo that puts him at the precipice of death right at the start of the fight. Keep your eyes on and his ability to engage. He finds Jojo in the river, trying to get a lot of damage down. The stun connects. Jojo has the flash, but he chooses not to use it. He gets forced out of the fight immediately. He has to use the ulti, and the combo looks good on the back line, but the problem is the moment that Jojo's gone, they run out of so much of their damage, which means that the fight becomes very BLG favored. They end up getting a 3 for 2, but the re-arrival of Jojo means that BLG can't stick around.
Jojo, though, barely even ahead anymore. Knight, though, could be in some trouble, has no flash, is going to get chased down here. Alvaro looking good sidestep, but it doesn't even matter. Supa comes in and picks up the kill, and that is a big one. Should gain MKOI another Dragon here, even up the Dragon score, taking their second of the game.
Small oversteps from BLG are effectively being punished by KOI. Knight dropping means a lot of their damage falls to the wayside. And the Dragon is secured. Now equalized. KOI in game 2 have come alive, and they are fighting back.
You can see Jojo now has that Bloodletter's Curse on, trying to shred some of this MR for the team, but it's going to be Supa that's the target as On goes in, does force out the cleanse. Base1 grouping up once again. BLG are just always 3 or 4 strong. It feels like fighting in the river. Both of these games, clearly they came in with a plan. We're going to contest vision non-stop. We're going to put the pressure on. And in game 2, MKOI have been much more equipped to deal with it. They have been fighting back. Alvaro has been there every time. On is stepping forward here, trying to get that control. As MKOI know, they cannot allow BLG to play the game at their pace. They need to match it. They need to control the game just as much.
And I'm just super happy for Jojo. Of course, it's been a while since he's returned to the international stage. He talked domestically about how he took it for granted, his first opportunity, because he just expected to make it back over and over again, and he was denied so many opportunities. But so far in this series, he's been playing well. In this game, a lot of the weight is sitting on his shoulders. A 6-0-3 Azir, 3 items completed. It is important that he stays alive in the fight because he is so much of the team's damage.
It really is, and I mean, you can understand why he took it for granted, because he came into the league on EG and immediately won and went, to MSI and then went to Worlds, and it was kind of just that feeling of, well, it's the norm, right? It's the expectation, but hadn't been able to make it back for quite some time, and now here, the first ever international league event in Canada, getting to play at home, being in a position to carry this game against BLG, to be the first team to actually take a game off of them here at MSI, as they have won 7 straight. But of course, it is far from over. BLG have fought back from deficit so many times, and their team fighting is just so damn tough to deal with. You can see Knight now incredibly tanky, as On is going to get interrupted there on the recall. Jojo is here. On's going to have to flash out. Alvaro trades a flash back, but Supa goes in with the killer instinct and gets another one.
Could be a Baron, but it's a risky start. There's a lot of poke on the side of BLG with both the Victor and the Corki. I think they should just be happy with the pick. With Supa losing his ulti, it's a scary fight to start. But they're thinking about it.
Elioya going to face check Elioya, and Elioya going to try to knock down the Corki. The Corki's in a lot of trouble. Flashes away from Mirwin. Mirwin looking to try to get back in. Base1 trying to peel for his AD carry, but he cannot. Mirwin grabs the kill, and Knight on the other side is going to fall as well. Jojo Pyun goes godlike in Canada, and MKOI have their eyes set on the Baron.
MKOI finds so many picks. Elioya sitting in that brush. I mean, I wasn't expecting it, and BLG definitely wasn't. Elk gets caught out. that cascades into another pick. And MKOI get themselves the Baron here in game 2.
A 5,000 gold lead now here for MKOI. They are really starting to pull away. They've claimed the last 2 dragons. They've won some fights here, have been crushing Bin in the side lanes, and now really looking to try to seal the deal here on this first win for them.
Elyoya just snuck his way in. Elk wasn't expecting this at all. And the amount of damage that Elyoya was able to find. Oh,
We're back
in
to
live,
but Tupa's going to be in trouble here. Beishwan trying to finish him off, but can't quite do it. Alvaro there to peel just barely. Mirwin, though, coming in from behind, and now BLG may have overextended. We can see Beishwan trying to finish off Supa. He can't do it under the tower. Supa makes it happen, but the teleport's coming in now from Knight is on the other side. It's going to be Bin fighting with Elk against Elyoya and Jojo, and they do push them back. The teleport arrives there from Knight, but no more kills do happen. Wukong fancies his chances here. That's a jungler up 2 levels on the top laner from BLG.
Bit of a desperate attempt from BLG. Beishwan stealing away the Raptors, runs into Supa, knows that he has the ability to kill him, but he just doesn't quite have the resources needed. And then a TP comes through from Knight as well. BLG scattered towards the end of this game, and MKOI looking to punish as much as they can. They set their sights on the tier 2 in the bot lane. The pings come down onto mid as well. MKOI putting the pressure on.
Absolutely are looking for some of these tier 2 towers. And while Knight is strong, he did go for a very tanky build. You know, he has the Zhonya's, the Cosmic Drive, as well as the Roa. So he is miles away from Void Staff as well as Death Cap. You know, these kind of late game items that you really think of, allowing you to try to take over a fight. And MKOI now nearly 9,000 gold ahead. You can see the Red Bull Baron power play plus 5,200 gold with still a lot of time left to pick up more.
The dragon spawns in 20 seconds. It, of course, not the soul, but it will put either side on soul point. MKOI bounced back effectively from game 1. They're looking to equalize this series up. They're keeping the waves pushed, making it that much harder. But again, I draw your attention to the minimap, and you'll notice they do have these wards as possible TP options. And engage.
It's Alvaro, though, going for the engage. He's going to preempt it, and they're looking for Knight. He goes into the stasis. They're trying to peel for him, but Knight is in a lot of trouble. Jojo goes in, and Beishwan goes down. In goes Subin in the back line, and it's Knight down. It's Elk sure to follow. It's MKOI crushing the fight, crushing the game, looking to put their eyes on the Nexus now. MKOI going forward. It's just been alive here, and he is not going to be able to stop MKOI. It looks like we're going to have a tied series here as they lost game 1, but they roar back to life in game number 2. MKOI looking poised on the international stage. We are all tied up.
MKOI bounce back beautifully. They play the fights well. They find some very valuable picks, and Jojo comes up huge. A great performance from the home crowd hero.
Incredible stuff from Jojo.